Hey you guys, it's Sarah here. Welcome to my channel. This is part 2 of my first Christmas book that I'm putting together. I've already done the video for how I put together this first template. In this video, I'm going to show you how I make this little Christmas tree template with the buttons where you match the buttons to the color. I really like this one because there's no detachable pieces. There's all sorts of ways that you could make a page like this, but I really like to have the minimal possible detachable pieces so that nothing can get lost. And so it's really cute. Little kids can just push the buttons around and then line them up on their corresponding matching colored spot to decorate the Christmas tree. So I'll show you how I put that one together. I'll have a free Christmas tree and little star template. The template's really simple. It's literally just cutting out a Christmas tree and this star. That's the only thing you need to do. So I'll put the free PDF one, a printable one, on my website as usual. And then I will have the SVG and JPEG files available on my Patreon if that's something that interests you. Okay, thanks so much, you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you are enjoying these videos. Thanks so much for your support, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah! So I've got all my pieces cut out, and the cutting for this page is really easy. All you have to do is cut out this shape of a tree in an 8" by 8" sheet of felt. And then I just used one of my dark green 12" by 12" sheets of stiff Korean felt, and I was actually able to cut out 3 kind of shapes of the trees, and I just used this cutout to help me do an outline and just freehand cut around it to make sure I had enough to cut or to sew around the border. And then the only other cutting is just these yellow stars, and honestly they're kind of optional. I was debating whether I wanted to even include them or not, but I did cut out a bunch of those on a sheet of felt. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that I have enough room around the border of this tree in the green, and I'm just going to place that on top, and I'm going to sew around this border onto the page. Okay, I've got that sewn around the border, and I'm just going to trim off any excess that is overhanging on the page. And then what I have is, well, if you've watched my previous videos, you've seen that I often use these fabric paint markers, but I also have this fabric paint. This brand is not sponsored or anything. I've actually bought a few different brands, and I've already taken out the colors that I'm going to be using. And then I added these Q-tips in here because I'm going to be using them to help paint on, or to help dab on the paint. But basically what I'm going to do next is I'm going to dab on little circles of paint in the colors of these buttons that I'm using. And I'm not using the paint markers that you may have seen me use before in videos because I just don't think that they'll show up as well on this dark green color, whereas I think these actual pieces of paint will show up well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of place my buttons that I want to use. I'm going to place them around the tree, maybe like that, and I'm going to just paint, and I guess I'll be hot gluing this star on as well at the top. And so I'll just place them maybe like that, and then underneath each of those colors I'll paint a small circle of fabric paint. And it comes, the box that I got came with a few different stencils, and so I'm just going to use this little circle just to help me paint on some nice neat circles. And the reason why I'm not hot gluing felt on to help, you know, make it so that the kids can match up the color is because I want the surface to be totally flat, because when they push up buttons against the felt, some kids don't like it, or they might get a little bit frustrated if there's like if it's not totally flat and smooth. So I'm using paint just to help keep it completely flat and smooth. Okay, I've got all those spots painted on. I'm gonna go run it under my blow dryer just to help it dry quickly. Normally when I make this, I would be doing this in bulk, so I would be using the same colors of Q-tips and the same stencil like for multiple pages. So I'd paint all the blue dots on at once, do 8 of those pages, paint all the pink dots on at once, do 8 of those, etc., etc. And but for the sake of this video, I just did one at a time, which means I also had to have paper towel on hand to wipe in between every color change to clean the stencil. And then I would just leave those 8 pages out to air dry while I work on something else. But for now, I'm going to actually go and just run this under my hair dryer just to help it dry quickly, and then I'll be back to film the rest of this. Okay, all those spots have dried and I went ahead and hot glued on the star at the top. You could also sew the star on as well. And I just tapped it on lightly to help prevent the hot glue from soaking through the fabric. The next thing I'm going to do is take a sheet of mosquito netting fabric. It's just this really durable, kind of scratch resistant fabric that I buy from my local fabric store. And I'm going to wrap that around each of the corners of the sheet of felt. And I'm just going to clip them in place. Okay, and of course, I can't forget to add all the buttons into the page. Okay, now that those buttons are all in there, I'm going to go ahead and take the other page. This is the fireplace page. I'll leave the link below to where I assemble this page because this is going to be the other side of this page. So because I'm making a whole pre-assembled Christmas book, I actually have double-sided pages. Normally I just have felt or plain I have a plain sheet of felt, or I have fabric wrapped around the back side of the felt sheet that goes on the other side. If you watch my other videos, you know what I'm talking about, but because I'm making an actual little Christmas book, a whole pre-assembled Christmas book, they're going to be double-sided pages. And of course I have my binding pieces. These are my 2 or 3 millimeter sheets of felt that I just cut out by hand with my scalloped edge scissors. And this one needs to go on this side. So I'm going to put that in between the front and the back side, and I'm going to sew around the whole border, and then that will also close in the mosquito netting, all the buttons inside of the mosquito netting when I sew that border. And then of course I use my heavy duty, hole punch to put 2 holes into the binding piece once that's sewn in. And then that is what allows me to use some binder rings to connect that page together. Let me show you what that looks like. So here's the other page, the front page that I showed how to put together in another video, and then this one will also be coming up. So stay tuned for this one. This will be the final back side of the book. And then I have my business tags, or my little business cards, that I put onto every page and every book that I sell. And then I also have these little felt made in Canada with my business logo on there. I also have some just plain made in Canada or made in the USA felt tags on my website available to purchase if you're interested in those. But that is the whole Christmas book. Oh wait, where's Santa? There's Santa and his sack. So there's the Santa and the sack, and I'll just show you as well all the little presents and the stockings that are inside of his stack. So the stockings attach and the presents can just sit inside the fireplace there. So there's that. There's what this page looks like when it's all done, so little kids can push the buttons around and try to line them up on their corresponding colors. And there's lots of ways that you can make this kind of activity page. I like this way just because there's minimal detachable pieces. The only detachable pieces that this whole book has are the little presents and the stockings, and even those are optional whether you want to add them or not. So that lines up all the little buttons on their colors, and then this little penguin page as well. There'll be a video coming out how to make this one. So all the details about how much time this specific page took together and the cost, those will be outlined on my Patreon. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out, as well as the template, of course. And then otherwise, thanks so much you guys for watching and for all your support. And I will see you guys in the next video.